Jim, I'm going to ask the next question because we know we do have a lot of new listeners. A lot of people still jump on board, as we know, each and every week. No one has the growth this show has, and of course the experience.
Yeah, but I understand if we've talked to a specialist and they believe they can take it out without affecting any internal organs, that growth.
Well, let's find out. With all that said, here's our next question sent to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from Michael. I've always wanted to know when and why you carry a tennis racket to the ring.
Oh, come on. All right, we haven't covered it lately. I went to our first TV taping in Louisiana, Mid-South Wrestling, and the fans, great feedback with fans. We had a lot of heat, but the wrestlers that were already there, every single one of them came up to me and said, these people are going to kill you. What? Oh, yeah, the fans are bad down here, and they're going to kill you. Because they knew already, everybody, was waiting for it. Who's going to be the first one to cut him or stab him, or they're going to kill him some way. They're going to drag him behind a truck. And I had never carried a gimmick. I mean, I was a manager, so I'd pass chains or, knucks or a belt or whatever. But I didn't have a gimmick that I carried with me as some people did. Old-time managers used canes, or Sir Clements had an umbrella because he was an Englishman. Or the old thing I gave Truth Martini, the book of truth. So I came back to Nashville after the first TV taping. Maybe it's the first one, maybe the second one. I'd have to go back and look now. But anyway, I went to the movies, which was the only thing I could afford to do back then, averaging the puny amount of money I was averaging a week before I started in Louisiana. But it was one of those teen movies from the early 80s. And the rich kid in the movie carried a badminton racket around everywhere he went. And it just looked douchey and snotty and, rich kid, whatever. And I had the idea for a tennis racket because a tennis racket had a little bit more size and also it would give me a little more reach and, tennis at the club, whatever, the country club, blah, blah, blah. So I went and got a tennis racket, and the next time we went down for TV in Louisiana, I asked Watts, I said, hey, I'm a rich kid, spoiled mama's boy prick. Wouldn't I have a tennis racket and be coming from the country club? And he said, yeah, do that. And I said, and also it'll give me a reach on people. He said, yeah, that's a good idea too. And so then we started being able to not only use it as a gimmick in the matches, but also it gave me a much needed, as we would soon find out, level of physical protection when we were in those crowds and the police were outmanned or otherwise occupied. But that's where it came from. And somebody a few years ago actually emailed me and told me the name of the movie. And I can't still remember it, but it sounded right.
How do you not know that? That's amazing. The one thing you don't know is the movie that inspired the racket.
Because I didn't give a shit for the movie. It was my girlfriend that picked the movie. I retained one idea from it that made me a lot of money and saved my ass on a couple of occasions physically in the future, and that's all I care about remembering that movie.
You love Caddyshack, no thought at all? Despite
Fred
Blassie?
Wasn't Caddyshack.
I understand. Despite Fred Blassie, no thought at all about going with a golf club?
I couldn't work it, and then it'd be a rib to carry. Think about it. I could put the tennis racket in my suit bag, fold it up, and boom, and it's done. It was no problem to carry. And you can work with it in a number of ways, and you can set it up to where you can fuck a motherfucker up with it if you hit them once, or you don't have to, and they'll be fine. And with a golf club, there's too many variables, and a golf club wouldn't have made any noise. So there you go. Golf club, no, not a good working gimmick.
Did you ever research, to the best of your knowledge, that anyone ever used a tennis racket before?
I think I didn't ever physically sit down and just say, I'm going to check every wrestling book and magazine I own to determine that. But I think in 40 years, somebody would have come across it by now. So that is original.